Yeah, hi there. These comments, I'm not going to give your name here for privacy purposes. I'll just say BP. All right, so your wife is trying to improve her academic English language abilities, am I right? So she's taken the TOEFL 4 times, and she wants to be a physical therapist, so she has some pretty high goals. So she needs to get 21 points in the reading, 18 points in the listening, 26 points on speaking, and 26 points on writing. And incredibly, your wife already has 29 points on the speaking section, so that's good. However, her score, according to January 30 here, she got 14 points in the reading, 12 points in the listening, she got 17 points in the writing. So you say, I've had her take writing and reading classes as well, but that only seemed to improve her score by a few points. The classes were at a community college before the last scores. I really need your help. So, I'm going to be honest with you. Your wife has a pretty tall mountain to climb here. So it's good that her speaking is 29, but it's bad that all her subtotals are so far from that threshold, which means reading, she needs 7 more points in the reading, she needs at least 6 points in the listening, and she also needs to improve writing. So here's how I can help you. Your wife has to get it in her head that she's going to have to fight like she has never fought before, and for reading. There are 5 things your wife has to do right now, and I'm going to tell you in order of importance what she needs to do in order to make progress. Remember, just because you go to a community college doesn't mean you're going to make progress in these areas, by the way. Number 1, your wife should be reading every day for about 45 minutes. You can tell her to read magazines, newspapers, and books. She needs to do that first. And there's no community college is going to do that. There's no online TOEFL course is going to do that. Your wife needs to find newspapers and start reading. She can also read magazines. She can also read longer books. She needs more experience reading texts, authentic texts. Number 2, it's very painful, but your wife needs vocabulary practice. She needs to start studying vocabulary lists. It's boring, it's tedious, it takes a long time, it's a lot of hard work, but your wife needs to start taking down words, writing sentences, writing definitions, practicing this every day. My website will help your wife learn 1,700 words. I even have an ebook, a vocabulary ebook that's 150 pages. It will give her at least 200 more words into her vocabulary, but the bottom line is I'm not going to force her to learn the words. I mean, I have the lessons and the exercises, but your wife has to do the study, and you can't do it. She's got to do it, right? So if she studies vocabulary, that's going to make a difference. The third thing is your wife needs to improve her reading speed to at least 300 words per minute. Hopefully, the community college helped her with that. But I also have in the reading section of my course, I do have speed reading tests, 70 to be exact, and that will help your wife improve her reading speed from 100 to 350 words per minute. She needs to improve her reading speed. There's no way around it. Number 4, your wife needs to become familiar with the IBT reading question types and the strategies for answering them. The classes at the community college will not help her with that. She needs more TOEFL type materials. That's where my website comes in. In the reading part of my course, she definitely can get all the question types. She'll get strategies and how to answer them. That's the 4th thing. The 5th thing is your wife should start taking TOEFL level reading practice tests so she can start marking her progress. However, if she's not doing the reading practice, if she's not studying the vocabulary, and she's not improving her reading speed, it doesn't matter. The last thing you want your wife to do is to take the practice test to mark her progress, but she has to build her reading in the first 3 areas first before it's going to make a difference with the TOEFL test taking strategies and practice tests. Does that make sense? So let's recap. What are we talking about here? There's 5 things. Reading every day, building vocabulary, increasing reading speed, becoming familiar with the question types and the strategies, and then taking TOEFL level practice tests. If your wife can do that, she can make progress. However, as you know, progress doesn't come quickly. Now, the good news is your wife has made progress, really. I mean, she's gone from 8 points in the reading to 14 points in the reading, so something good is happening. She's also made some improvements in the listening. Her writing, though, I'm worried about. It's really staying the same. It's not moving. It's not moving at all. So the good news is I have 40 independent writing practice tests. I have 40 integrated writing practice tests, and your wife can start taking those practice tests to get scores. What she wants to do is to go through the writing part of my course, start going through those lessons, be familiar with how to answer the independent and the integrated writing tasks, and then she starts submitting practice tests to get feedback. Now, what kind of feedback is your wife going to get? She'll get a score with a basic explanation of why she received the score she did. However, I do not correct all the errors in the writing, at least not for your monthly subscription fee. I do have an additional service in which I will correct all the errors in your wife's writing, but it's costly. It's not going to be cheap. It's $50 for each essay. It can take me over an hour to an hour and a half to read and correct all the errors in your wife's essay and to analyze and tell her what she needs to do to get better, and that's not going to be cheap. So if you're interested, you might have your wife do this, is maybe she can do 1 independent and 1 integrated writing practice test. I'll do the error correction and the restructuring, and essentially what I'll do is I'll tell your wife everything she needs to do to improve her writing from whatever the score is she gets to getting a perfect score 30 out of 30. I can do that. But it's $50 for each essay. I'm being honest with you. That's it. I don't go lower than that. Don't negotiate. It's extremely time consuming, and it's very, very it's very hard labor on the brain to do that. A lot of thinking for me to do that. All right, so I think if your wife can follow some of the suggestions in this video, she'll get better. Now let's talk about listening. The same thing, your wife should be practicing listening every day. She needs to be watching TV, focusing on news, documentary, history, and also science programs. That's also going to be very helpful for your wife. Now what you can do is, as your wife is doing the reading and the listening practice, she can do this. She should be taking down notes on the reading and the listening passages. And then, using her notes, she can write a summary of that information, right? And have her write, beginning right now maybe, for each week, have her write 5 250-word summaries each week explaining the main points and the most important supporting points of the reading and the listening passages that she's practicing. And you can read them with her if you want. You can say, okay, I'm going to read one of your summaries. Make sure she says things like, the author states, the author claims, another point made is, or according to the speaker, or in the lecture the speaker says. Make sure that she explains information from the third person point of view as it's coming from the reading and the listening passage, and that makes it a summary. That's going to help her get a higher score on the integrated writing. You see what I'm saying? So specifically with your wife, I can definitely help her with her reading, her listening, her writing, her vocabulary, her grammar. She'll probably need to go through the grammar part of my course, and that's going to help her minimize some of the problems she's having with her writing. You see what I'm saying? So you can talk to her. You guys can think about what you want to do or how you want to do it. I am a professor here at California State University, San Bernardino. And in addition to teaching for the English department, in addition to teaching English as a second language here, I've also reached out, as you know, to the international community, and I have some low-cost services and online TOEFL courses to help some of these students on a tight budget. Not everybody can afford to take an intensive English program or to take classes in an intensive English program because it does cost thousands and thousands of dollars a month. All right, so if you guys are ready, you just go over to my website and join. You can go to the section where it says join. You can become one of my students. And remember that you're only billed each month, and if you don't want to use my course for the next month, just make sure you cancel your subscription before the next 30-day cycle starts, or you'll get billed again. Now, if you get billed again and you don't want to be billed for that month and you want to cancel your subscription, just send me an email. I can refund the money. PayPal allows me to make refunds up to 60 days. All right? That's why I like to use PayPal too, because I don't like to take people's personal credit card information. I work through PayPal. They handle all the money. They're a pretty trusted service there. All right, so good luck to your wife. It's a long road. It's a battle. If I'm honest with you, I'm guessing that to help your wife get to where she needs to be, probably not a 1-month fix. She's probably looking at 2, 3, maybe even 4 months of very hard practice every day. Your wife needs to study TOEFL really about 2 to 4 hours every day for 60 or 90 days. And then and only then, I think, is she going to make progress, I think, in the reading, the listening, and the writing sections. All right? Thank you very much.